Hello. Today I'll be presenting my Shiny app titled Global Mental Illness Explorer Interactive Insights and Trends Worldwide. And this app was designed to provide more so intuitive and interactive way to explore global mental health data, uncover trends, and identify key insights. So first, before exploring the app, I'd like to introduce the data set that serves as the foundation for this app. So this data set was sourced from Kaggle.com, and it focuses on global mental health and spans 30 years, from the years 1990 to 2019. And this data set captures prevalence rates for five significant mental illnesses: schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorders, and eating disorders. And these disorders represent a diverse set of mental health conditions, each with its unique challenges and impacts. And this data set overall provides a comprehensive view of mental health trends on a global scale. And each data point in this data set is carefully standardized to represent the percentage of the population affected by a specific mental illness. And the data is broken down by country, year, and disorder. And the key variables for the data set include the following. First is entity, which refers to the country or region where the data was collected. The code is the three-letter word to represent each specific country. Next, we have the year variable, which ranges from 1990 to 2019, and the mental illness prevalence rates expressed as percentages of the population. And so by leveraging this data set, My Shiny app provides an accessible and engaging way for users of the app to uncover meaningful insights into global health. And this will be especially beneficial for individuals who are uh, researchers in health, policymakers, as well as those who are mental health advocates. Next, I'd like to move forward to the app. And I want to explain the primary goal of my app is to serve as a powerful analytical and visualization tool for understanding global mental health trends. It'll allow users to explore mental health in an engaging way. And oftentimes, mental health is a critical aspect of global health. However, it's often underrepresented in discussions around public health policy and resource allocation. And so this app aims to fill that gap by enabling users to answer a wide range of important questions about mental health. And four particular questions, including first, how do mental illness prevalence rates vary across countries and regions? Secondly, what trends can be observed in the prevalence rates of specific mental illnesses over time? Thirdly, are there correlations between the prevalence rates of different mental illnesses? And lastly, how do prevalence rates compare across multiple illnesses in a single country? So next, I'd like to discuss the how to use the app and the unique features that it possesses. So I'd like to start first by exploring the global map. It's displayed here at the top of the app, and this map provides a comprehensive overview of mental illnesses prevalence rates worldwide and offers the following features. So first, it has you use the interactive slider. You can select any year between 1990 and 2019, and it allows you to visualize how mental illness prevalence rates change over time. And next, we have a mental illness dropdown where you can choose one of the five mental illnesses from the drop-down menu. So, for example, selecting anxiety. And next, there is a country drop-down menu that lets you select or type in the country of interest that you would like to look at. So, for example, you would select or type in Brazil. And additionally, the map uses a color coded gradient to represent the prevalence rates for each of the specific countries. And so lower prevalence rates, as you can see here, are represented by lighter colored lighter, shaded lighter, while high prevalent regions are shaded darker. As you can see here, Brazil is shaded darker, indicating it has a higher prevalence rate. And lastly, you have the apply button, which you can click apply, update the map as you select specific year, mental illness, and country, along with the reset button, which you can revert back to the default view. Next, I'd like to move to the next section of the app, the trends over time, located in the bottom left section of the app. Now, this feature enables users to explore how mental illness prevalence rates change over time in a specific country. So first, in this section, you would use the drop-down menu, choose country, which allows you to choose a country of interest. So for example, you would select or type in the United States, focus solely on mental health trends um, in that specific country. Next, you would use the drop-down menu for mental illness. So you could choose specific mental illness to track. So for this example, we can select anxiety. And lastly, there's an interactive slider where you can select a custom year range. So for example, we can set uh, the range from 2000 to 2014. And the graph dynamically updates to show anxiety prevalence trends in the United States over um, those 14 years. Next, I'd like to move on to the uh, regional comparison section of the app, located in the bottom center section. And this feature provides a comparative view of prevalence rates for multiple illnesses within a single country. So first, there is a country drop down. You'd start by selecting a country of interest. So for example, you could start by selecting Canada. Next is the year drop down, where you can choose a specific year. So for example, you can choose the year 2015. And it updates the bar chart to display the prevalence rates for all five mental illnesses in Canada, as this example shows during that year. And the color-coded bars in the bar chart um, show that each mental illness is represented by a unique color, so it makes it easy to distinguish between the disorders. And this bar chart um, highlights which disorders are most or least prevalent in the selected country and year. And lastly, I'd like to move on to the last section of the app, um, the correlation analysis, located in the bottom right section. And this section examines the relationships between the prevalence rates for two mental illnesses. So first, you would go to the drop downs to choose the two mental illnesses to compare. So for example, first you would choose mental illness number one. For example, you select depression. Mental illness number two, you go and select another disorder such as anxiety. And next you would select the year of interest from the drop-down menu. So you would, for example, select the year 2000. And with this section, it shows a scatter plot with a linear regression. So the scatter plot visualizes the relationship between the two mental illnesses, and a linear regression line has been added to the picture trends. And so in this case, in the year 2000, there was a seen as a positive, indicates a positive correlation between depression and anxiety rates globally in that year. And you can also hover over individual points that reveal details about specific countries, such as their exact prevalence rates for both mental illnesses. Well, now that we've explored the app and its features, um, There are some key insights that may be revealed through visualizations and analyses when going through this app. In particular, a few insights I found were that depression and anxiety some of the most prevalent mental illnesses, as they are consistently seen as the most prevalent worldwide. So for instance, as I showed in here's comparison in Canada, for example, you'll see that for the year 2015, anxiety and depression um, had the highest prevalence rates. And if you were to change the year going back in time to 1991, you will see that anxiety and depression remain most prevalent. And additionally, if we were to go to another country, such as Malta, you see here that anxiety and depression also remain the two highest or most prevalent mental disorders for that country in that specific year. And if you were to move forward to more current years, such as 2019, and high prevalence rates of anxiety and depression remain the same. Now, this would show that there's a significant uh, societal and economic impacts that these disorders may cause, such as losing productivity and increased healthcare costs. And this would make push potentially like healthcare professionals like policy makers prioritize resources for depression and anxiety interventions. And additionally, there are also regional disparities that may come about, such as eating disorders being more prominent in countries such as France, reporting higher prevalence rates for eating disorders than a lot of other countries worldwide. So, for example, if you would go to the year 2015 and you would go to France, you would see that, for example, France reported one of the highest global rates at over 0.46%. Additionally, there were also will be geographical variations of other disorders like schizophrenia showing prevalence in regions, higher prevalence in regions such as Africa or Southeast Asia, which indicates a diverse contributing factors that may cause this. And thirdly, another insight is that there are correlations between mental illness. So as you can see in this example here, it shows that there's a strong positive correlation exists between depression um, and anxiety. And this may imply the need for integrated treatments that address both disorders simultaneously that could be more effective than treating them separately. And lastly, another final insight is that there may be uh, disorders that are universally have a lower prevalence rate than others. So, for instance, bipolar and schizophrenia both represent public health challenges in specific regions, and they're shown to have lot lower prevalence disorders than um, the majority of the other mental illnesses. And often this could be a representation of a stigma or delayed diagnosis, um, which often hinders treatment and awareness of bipolar and schizophrenia. And this could potentially lead to additional insight into increasing awareness and targeted campaigns or treatments that are necessary to improve care for these specific conditions. And lastly, I'd like to conclude that my app demonstrates the potential for interactive data visualization and understanding on global mental health trends. And it's a very useful, it could be a very useful tool, not just for those who are curious, but for those in healthcare professions as well, especially policymakers who can identify high burden regions and allocate resources where they're needed most. For healthcare researchers who can analyze trends over time and study correlations between mental illnesses to provide valuable insights for future studies. And thirdly, for mental health professionals, app provide a global perspective on mental health disparities, which would help professionals design more effective interventions. And lastly, if you scroll down to the bottom of the app, there is a documentation tab that contains all the relevant information I've discussed in the presentation concerning the app, including its usability and insights that may come about when exploring this app. Thank you for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation and that you find this app very interesting and insightful.